Yes, it's been like 5 months since I last uploaded, and no, I'm not dead. Just on the inside. My game is also still as alive as the Queen of England. But what is my game about? Did you ever play games like City Skylines and were annoyed about all the little restrictions they have? Why can't they just increase the taxes to 100%? Why are the only things that happen boring disasters where you have no influence in? I want explosions, nuclear bombs, a growing split between poor and rich, and much more fun stuff for the whole family and friends. But everyone has to start somewhere. So today I'll show you how I added streets, curves, intersections, buildings, and a very cool unique monster that was definitely very much necessary for a city builder. As with all my relationships, my relationship towards roads is very complicated. Because I'm really dumb, I wanted to make a non-grid based road based mechanic, like that of City Skylines, where you can use all the fancy angles you want to. To do that, I basically have to code my own 3D modeling program inside of Unity, which generates the roads with set points along a path. Honestly, you basically have to be a genius to implement this. But as you know me, I'm no genius. So there's an easy way around this called crime.
FBI, open up!
I mean, prime content. Like Freya's short 3-hour tutorial on procedural generation for roads and Bezier curves. Well, let's borrow this code from my comrade into my project and... Wait. What are Bezier curves? After eating all my popcorn for this movie-long tutorial, I learned that the satellite doesn't describe the form of a buttocks of a person named Bezier. Guys, can we just take a minute to appreciate these absolutely hilarious results of Google Pictures? Why does this guy look like a cartoon villain who just robbed a bakery? Why did LinkedIn post this? And what is wrong with the other pictures? Well, anyway, back to my boy Bezier. Basically, you have a few points and make a fancy curve out of them by connecting this stuff and ta-da, curve. For change, the code actually worked the first time. Maybe because it wasn't mine, but no, that couldn't be. Okay, now I'll only have to implement a way to place the new road segments. Okay, yeah, maybe it worked because it wasn't my code. It worked perfectly the first time. Now let's make the street have nice and curvy curves. Oh, and I'll change the material before I get cancelled for only having white roads in my game. Because continuously generating roads at runtime is a big no-no and results in a slow game, which I heard most people don't really like, I just won't do that anymore. So I just added a preview before the road actually gets placed and... Oh, yeah, that works flawlessly on the second try as always. Then, with the help of my guy Roman, I added a nice road shader to the street. Do you remember the Bezier curves I talked about? If not, you might want to get checked for Alzheimer's. Yeah, it maybe was totally stupid of me to use them to connect rows, but that leads us directly to our newest segment. Alex is an idiot. Using Bezier curves is like using a Cybertruck instead of a hammer. And I could have just, in theory, maybe calculated the curve points with simple high school math, which probably also would have worked better, but I'll just put that on the pile of other things I want to do later. Hey break! You want to play one of my games, but don't want to wait anymore? Here's my newest game that you can play just at this very right moment. You just have to click on this simple button. Less than 1% of players actually managed to finish this game. Can you do it? Are you the chosen one? Oh no! I failed again! I am so bad! will you be able to finish this game and complete the special hidden side quests. Back to the video. Now we have a fancy road looking to intersect with hot streets in its area. To do that, we first have to separate the street into two pieces and connect all the three parts. After some initial problems, I managed to implement a freeway, and surprisingly enough, it also kind of works better than expected with more roads. But I like my intersections like I like my intercores, organized, so I'll only allow a four-way. Now get ready for some intense gameplay. The street mechanic is now more or less done. Less meaning, I just used the power of editing to hide all the bugs. But you can build four-way intersections and draw very nice things with that. Now that I have functioning country roads, I only need homes they can take me to. Because I'm terrible at designing, I want to randomly generate the house with a Lego brick-like system, with doors and windows and walls. And honestly, this time I think I've outdone myself. Here's how I actually designed my walls, and I don't know how you can improve this. I'm pretty happy with the result, but some of the colors seem a bit too colorful, and I think they're not fitting in quite well with the other buildings. But I think at least the orange one looks quite good. Because city building games normally have tons of houses, I tested what would happen if I increase the size of one house just a tiny bit. I mean, honestly, who needs more than 10 FPS anyway? If you're still watching, now it's time for my totally necessary, story-dependent core gameplay mechanic monster. Of course, there's a wide range of choice, but I decided on using a phage, which is totally not stolen from Kurzgesagt or anything. As always, I'm bad at everything, including designing and animating, so I'll just use the one skill I have, and that's programming. So I program my way out of it by applying some procedural animation to the phage. To do that, I basically shoot cool lasers called waycasts with each leg to get the new leg position. And you know me, worked perfectly. But honestly, these lasers are very boring. Nowadays, all the cool kids use these new and improved sphere casts. What are sphere casts, you might be asking yourself? Think of sphere casts like a thick raycast. Guys, this is actually not a joke, that's literally the Unity documentation. Okay, with our new and improved sphere cast, it can successfully pass the obstacle course. Well, it can't really handle walls at the moment, or generally do anything else than walking forward, but you have to walk before you run. And it sure doesn't look terrifying at all when it does that. A monster that can only walk forward is only half terrifying. So I'll help with that. But let's see him in action, demolishing roads and buildings. Did you just assume that the phage is evil? Oh, wait until Twitter hears about this. My little phage wouldn't even harm a fly. Maybe demolish a gigantic bacteria, but apart from that, nothing. Basically now the most complicated groundwork was done, and I can focus on including more core gameplay driven features like communism. But more on that in the next video. Bye.